Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. My name is Ash, and today I'm doing a quick review for Ayre and the Crystal Comet on Xbox. Now, I'm not gonna lie, straight out the gate, I hate dunking on games because game dev is hard and it takes a lot to make games. As someone who's dabbled in it as like a sort of hobby on the side, it's extremely difficult. However, I can't say too much positive about this game, which is a real shame because it had promise from what it was described as, but the whole game just fails to meet expectations in every way. So basically, this game is a game where you play as this woman who is a sort of dragon rider. She has the last living dragon, and she basically thinks she's located the homeland of this ancient dragon riding civilization called the Skyriders. She reaches these lands, but she's now got to unlock its secrets. And the story isn't really explained well to begin with, I must admit. Basically, a giant sort of comet, like a crystal comet, crash lands. You go over and talk to it, and it talks to you. And it's like you need to collect these pieces that have broken off, and that's basically the game. So we'll talk about the positives first. This game has a huge map. I believe I read somewhere it's about 65 kilometers in size. So you've got Great Lakes, you've got mountains, you've got ruins, you've got all sorts of stuff, and you can fly around and walk around to your heart's content. Now, there's two modes of travel. You can walk, or you can fly on your dragon, which is pretty cool. You have a dragon. However, the dragon is a double-edged sword, unfortunately. Basically, you can call your dragon when you're not on it, but it just ends up like looping around you in the sky like a bird on a string or something like that. And when it finally lands, it ends up being miles away from you, and you end up having to run for ages to get on it. And it's just a bit naff. Now, that's the game in the whole, though. You basically are collecting crystals for this giant meteorite. They don't really give you anything. You just, every time you collect so many, it gives you a little bit more dialogue, and then you go collect some more. Now, there are other things you can do. There are some puzzles you can find where you have to collect these like balls and put them into another place. And there's also like races where you have to fly through rings, very sort of reminiscent to Spyro special levels, where you're trying to fly through the rings on your dragon. However, the game suffers from, one, it doesn't look great. Like, it's got really wide open worlds, and you can see massively in the distance, and it does have a really cool like day-night cycle where some of the environment looks really nice in the night, but it's very low poly. The world is empty. There's no other people walking around, so there's no combat or anything. It's just this bland, empty landscape with odd gems, these crystal bits scattered around them. You can walk through the trees and stuff like that, and you always end up getting stuck with, and animations are glitchy and stuff like that. You can get on your dragon and fly it. Luckily, the dragon has two types of flight controls. One of them is much better than the other. However, even then, it doesn't feel super quick or anything like that. It just seems to plod along most of the time. Sometimes doesn't do what you want, and then you try and land and you just end up like careering into something and then just stopping, or you're trying to fly low but then you get too low and then it just auto lands and you're like, what is going on? And like I say, this is clearly been made by a solo developer. They've put a lot of time and effort into designing the world, like the environment and stuff like that, and they have made a nice game that anyone at any age could play. Like I say, this would be great for kids in terms of like there's no violence or anything like that, and there's no time limits. You can just do what you want, but it's just lacking. It just feels incomplete and cheap, unfortunately. Like, it had great ideas, but they've just not been implemented well. Like with the dragon, if you're trying to get anywhere, it's much quicker just to sit on your dragon and run around on it than it is to walk around, because it's quicker. And then you can't fly anywhere because you end up landing all the time, or it's just really difficult to control it and get it ideally where you want to go. So it just spoils it. And like I say, I don't hate the game for what it is. Like I say, the the general sort of world and story and the idea of it isn't bad, but the rest of it is just, it's riddled with emptiness and bugs which really let it down. And like I say, within an hour of playing I was more than bored of it, which is a shame. Now, it is available on Xbox One and Xbox Series X and S. It's optimised for Series X and S with 60 FPS and 4K resolution apparently. It does support smart delivery, and it's priced at £8.39. Now, bar going in this for the achievements, which aren't the quickest, I must admit, it'll still take you a while to get them, but they are pretty straightforward. I couldn't recommend this game unless it's on like a massive sale, because it's just, it's like a concept. It's like, you know, when you see those like ModDB sort of fan projects where they've got these great open worlds but there's hardly anything in them, and they're like doing it as like a college project. It's like that, but they're actually charging for it. And I feel really bad because eastasiasoft usually publish really decent games, but this one just doesn't feel up to the standard of a lot of what they've put out recently. So I would avoid this one, guys, but that's just my personal opinion. Check it out if you're still unsure, but I couldn't recommend it in the state it's in. But other than that, guys, thanks for watching. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, leave a comment down below if you've played this game, let us know what you think. And other than that, we'll see you very soon. Bye for now.